Oh, you're knackered. Gonna try and do at least an hour with a project, test, prototype. I need to make myself a coffee. I need to find my notepad as well with the notes that I brought about it. Right, basically, my game is a Starfighter combat game. She's great. However, you're in fast-moving spaceships where you're traversing hundreds of meters per second. Now, Unity can cope with around 50,000 meters. You'll start see jittering on models. But in fact, you can actually see it as far as 1,000 meters out as well, which you would have noticed on a video I uploaded on my YouTube channel, which was actually to show the jittering on the HUD using Unity's canvas mode. But I also noticed that the part of the model was jittering as well, even though it wasn't all of it. Anyhow, it turns out that if you're 1,000 meters out, the jittering will happen then. So I need to try and find a way around this. One way would be to have a HUD what always remains at 0 on all free access and have a camera render it on top of the actual model itself. But I want this HUD to be more part of the ship, not just an overlay on the screen, but to look like it's a screen attached to the ship. So the only solution I think of is to keep the ship zeroed at position 0. And then as it moves, the position still remains 0, but we update all other objects in the game world relative to the speed that the player ship's moving at. That's my idea. I did think about attaching a child game objects and putting all the game object worlds in there and then just moving that around. But somehow I don't think that would work, and there'll be limitations such as when the player rotates his ship, I would have to rotate on a pivot point, whereas Unity, when it does rotation, it rotates on center of game object. I'm sure that's not going to work. Yeah. So I'll just call this place to 0 position. I don't want it going there. We'll have it in our Unity tests. We've got 3D and create project. I was thinking about this a month and a half ago. It's been almost a month since I've done any programming. so what for written to remind myself? Play stays at position 0 and rotation 0. When the player changes position and rotation by moving, update all game objects based on player movement. Player object does not move or rotate. Well, player object will need to rotate. Obviously. It makes sense for him to rotate. Use late update to find new player position, then use values to update all of the game objects. Yeah. Really, that'll have to be in a class. A new class of its own. Because this will have to be put into order of execution. Which will come probably after all game objects have moved. Problem would need to update player before all other game objects. No, we don't. I just figured that out. We'll have a separate class. Though I did come up with some sort of solution. Child of game object, that won't work. So get the player velocities for position and rotation. Apply these velocities to the parent game object. It's not going to work. So test to create a small prototype to test the theory. Use a few simple game objects. Even written test steps. The first test step is to move the player. Player stays at 0. Player game object moves position. So how about this? Player stays at 0. And any game objects in the world move relative to the player speed. That would be the first test. Oh. I'll just make sure I can watch our channel as well, you know. Oh, dear. Alright. Let's create a cube. Excuse me. Let's go player. I wonder if the new Turtles movie is any good. Looks just full of action and for kids. There we go, we're teaching our kids more violence. Ugh. Right. Oh, TD mode, switch that off. We're now in 3D. We're now in perspective mode, yes, good. I don't want orthographic. Oh, why is my screen blank? It's not right. Guess my tablet's just crap. Transfer only apply. There we go. I don't even have to look at the black screen of death. Alright, so I'm gonna need a new script. Call it move me. And attach that to the layer. And I want some input. What have we got? Horizontal, left, right, vertical, up, down. So I'm using physics for movement. It's been a real challenge. I'm not sort of physicsy guy. No, I'm a maths guy. Right. Charge my phone. I'm going to boil the kettle. But I need to stick a late update in there first. After I boil the kettle, of course. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Okay. Late update. Oh, physics. Pardon me. All physics going a late update. And of course, oh, that reminds me, I might as well. We've got this trial, is it? Mirror's launch. How do we see the trial? Oh, there's on the house as well. I'll download Knox. Put that in there. Oops. Store. Trials. Star Wars. Oh, right, it's only part of Origin Access. Oh, that's stupid. Go away. Okay, I need to add physics. Physics for 3D. Need a rigid body. Okay. Get rid of the angular drag. Turn off gravity unless we want to see it drop. What is kinematic? That the kettle is boiled. Oh, yay. So our main scene. So B equals get component rigid body. Okay. B dot add. Right, what do we want? Relative force? Add force? As a force relative to its coordinate system. So if we want to make it do something weird. So I want to add force. That is what we want. We want to give it a force and then tell it what sort of force we're applying to the object. We'll have a simple one, I think. Oh, right. Also hungry. Need some porridge. Oh, sorry about this, guys. Here, why don't you have a look at the slideshow I did? If it works. See, sketches and whatnot of what might happen. Or not. Some of them I did when I was 16. Oh. Oh. I've got quite a few ship ideas and whatnot. Solely stuck in the Wing Commander style, Wing Commander 1 style of ships. That's my inspiration when I did all this drawing. Seems to have the same style going. Oh. Yeah, I don't think that'll be going in because I've no idea what I could use a dropship for. It's more like for planetary version. Those are military cruisers. Actually, I used them in a video game I created in Div Game Studio. I think I've still got the source, so if I still give Div Game Studio and get it working in DOSBox, I can actually recover it. They only uploaded the source code and stuff. I never uploaded the executable. That's the fights that you'll see in game. There's actually more recent sketches. Well, I guess that's it, is it? Or is it on random? Yeah, jumper, that's like a sort of a jump ship. Fast moving, scout, jumper, A to B, as quick as you can. Oh, orange. Sort of like a heavy cruiser or a medium cruiser. Top down of the ship in the game. Yeah, medium class destroyer. Oh, all right. Oh. Okay. Oh, you may. Alright, remove me. Well, before we add that, we basically want to have some inputs. Int, moving. Move forward. What do I call this? Velocity. Direction. And rotation. Direction. Okay. If input, is it? Do we have to using unity.input? No? Get. It's been a while since I've used input in Unity. Get axis. No. Input, get key down. Did it get button? Could have get buttons for the input now. We'll just go get key down now. I don't care about key code dot up arrow. Can't be moving forward. What are you complaining about? Bracket expected. Of course, the bracket's expected. It's not proclaim, Dan. It's not proclaim at all. Oh, right. Then velocity direction equals 1. So that means we're going to move forward. Else, if input dot get key down, key code dot down arrow, we want to be moving backwards, yeah? So velocity direction equals -1, and then if nothing is pressed, velocity direction is just going to be 0. Okay. And we add that in. So, yeah, okay. Now, if the velocity direction equals 1, I could do this a much fancier way, but I'm not going to do. I'm just going to add lots of add force. Add force what? Oh yeah, vector free force for new vector free 0 0 5 force mode. We'll have an instant force. What's that force? Continuous force? No. So acceleration, adding on there, using its mass. Oh, acceleration ignores its mass. Okay. Anyway, we want an instant change to force. So it'll always be 5 pixels per second. I'll be moving him. Yeah. Oh. If the velocity direction equals -1, I mean, I had a force. Well, just copy and paste it rather than write it all out. It's going to be -5. Yep. That makes sense so far? Well, that should work. Huh. Oh, 45 degrees new. Okay. 30. Yeah. So we should be able to see that move, shall we? Whoa. Okay, that's not quite how I wanted it to work, but you know. Thought. I'll just go with velocity change. That needs to be an else. Else. B dot add force. All 0. Actually, we'll just do RB dot velocity equals 0. Of course, so it'll have to be new vector free, which is 0. See what happens now. Not quite. Sorry, we'll just go with impulse. I don't mind. It's only for testing purposes. It don't need to be no more perfect. Oops, what's going on there? Key is being held down. Get key down and then it's no, whatever. Shall we just put another one? No, we'll just get rid of that. That'll do. Right. So, make the cube move. It's like gears of a car, I guess. We got them moving. Well, that's not what we want. Let's sort this camera out a bit. Why are we in 2D mode? Move the camera up. And let's add another cube or two. Change the colour of these easily. Oh, why would you be able to do that, you know? Yeah. Alright, okay, whatever. Alright, got this. Oh, camera's that way, is it? Where's the camera? They're all seen, are they? Alright. 0, 0, 0, and then move that over there. Over there. Okay. So we've got a few game objects in the world, and basically, as we see now, that only the player moves. Okay. So for those who might have just popped in, the idea is that when the player is moving, the player doesn't actually move. All the other game objects will move in relation to the player's velocity. Therefore, player will always remain at a position of 0 in the game world. And that will help me fix the jittery bug when the player reaches a large amount of distance, which is 1,000 meters, which isn't large at all, is it really? For a space game. So, need some debugging information. Alright, debug.log. Right, what do we want? V.velocity, yep. So the player velocity is the main thing. What else? B dot. We've got angular velocities, I don't need that. Animation now. Nothing there. Constant force. Deprecated, so that's no use. How much drag it's got, we can drag the drag of the object, we don't need that. Like my angular maximum velocity. No, I don't need to know that. I'll just stick position. So the player position and the player velocity. So now when we run, we'll get a debug console filling us with all our information. You can see that's moving at 5 meters per second based on Unity's game world. I almost said pixels then, but alright, we need a new script. So the player's going to say sensor, so we basically need to move the world. And we're going to want an execution order for that. And we'll come after the default time. So all of the scripts will be executed. Alright, so basically default time is when scripts which are not in here get executed. You can put scripts before the default time or after the default time, given that we're moving stuff. I can do it after all physics has been done, and then move the player. Now when I say physics, it's when all scripts have been done. So when all other scripts have been executed and all other objects have moved themselves and the player has moved, then we can move the world. But the player will not be moving. Well, we're always keeping it 0. I'm updating the world based on his velocity. So then, this will also be done in late update, I guess. Or could it be done in update? It'll be done in update. May as well. May as well be done in update. And if things seem a little wonky, then we'll just stick it in late update. Right. So this is going to be attached to player. So we'll have the script, the move the world script attached to the object that doing all the moving. Yeah. Or should we have a management? Yeah, we'll have a manager. That means if I wanted to, say, switch between objects in the world, maybe want to have control over more than one spaceship or structure or something like that, and I've got the option to do that. So we'll create an empty game object, call it game management. It's at the top. And add our move the world script. Now this will need a reference to right, game object is the center of the world object. That'll be public. And this is the center of the world. Ooh. Oh, alright, okay. No errors. Is it? I would expect it to show as public now. Fine, don't. Whatever. What's this saying? I'm not logged in. Alright, so, this is our center of the world object. This will be our player object. Now, basically, our center of the world object will always want to stay center. So, first things first. Is that center of the world object dot position? Oh no, sorry, rigid body. Dot position. Dot transform. Dot position. Is going to be actually, let's see. Let's grab the current position. Equals that position. Yep. What's going on here? Deprecated. I'll just get transformed at position. And we're just going to use that. We're going to then say, right, center of the world object dot transform dot position equals like a new vector 3. It's always 0, but we've got the current position of it. Right, so we also want a list of private game object. That's in the wrong place, is it? Yep. World objects. Every object in the game world. And then we want to find all these objects. World objects equals find all. Of type all. Okay. There's a list of active inactives of type. Of type what? Type. Unity find all game objects. Let's get all game objects at a scene. Well, we might have stuff what is tagged. Find objects of type game object. Game object. The problem with that is like it'll take control of the game management as well. So we would have to create empty game world. So everything that exists in the game world is inside this. Oh, before we do that, oops, make sure this is zeroed out. So everything in the game world exists inside game world object. And therefore, game management. Public game objects. Game. Whoa! I think we need to do a wisdom that's serializable. Is it serialized? Oh, potential fixes. Nope. Serializable. Editor variables. What am I doing now to actually? That's not what I've changed up. Inspector. Yeah. Compile time error. Well, I'm not getting no compile time errors. he says after he's not even checked. Now I've got compile time errors because I'm doing daft stuff. As game object. Whatever. Just leave me alone. Because we don't stick a script on. Here we have. It's there. It's on there twice. Why not public? Public members not showing. It's not static. There are no compile time errors because when we run, it runs. System.serialize. That's what we had. Variables on the inspector. When creating a script, you're essentially creating your own type of component that can be attached to a game object, just like any other component. Just like other components have properties that are editable in the inspector, you can allow values in your script to be edited from the inspector too. Yeah, we know that. Public string, my name. It should appear there. Is it serializable? Mono behavior? Yes. Not saving. That is why. Yes. Aha. What was up with that? Right. So game world, the center of the game world. Play. Okay. Just fill up my glass of water. My brain fuel. Okay. So, I know where our game world is. So, game world. Well, world objects equals game world dot find. No, get components in children. About Unity, we want to find child game object. Do we want to find a child game object by name? We'll find. Find. So we can get a lot of components. Get components in children. Get what? Game object. That's a component, isn't it? Of course it is. We find all game objects. Let's test that then. And see what we get in our wonderful list. Whoops, wrong key press down. Wrong key press. Right then, so we've gone into the other one. Should have had something else in there. What are we doing? Move the world. How do we do debug? .log world objects. So we've got something just to stop. It's not going to show us any information in that debug, but it allows us to stick a breakpoint. Are we at the breakpoint yet? Yes. No. What's going on? Because it's already running. Right, hopefully this will work now. Or not. What's going on? Oh. Retouched, yes. Retouch. You're now going to allow me to do it? No, it's not debugging. Why are you not debugging? What have I done wrong? I don't know, we've got move the world set, haven't we? Yes, obviously. Start is not. Fine, we'll stick it in the update, make it the most difficult flipping thing you could ever do. World objects is null. Get child. Might be useful. Get a list of children objects. Just to build. Use built-in transform functions. For each transform child in transform. Your child is your child transform. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. Much better than what I'm trying to achieve here. I like that. I can get rid of world objects then. And then in the update, you can have, what is it? Transform child and transform. Oh dear, it's a for each. Get child. Okay, transform. That's still not better, is it? So, Unity transform child. What can you tell us about this? I want to do it with low overhead. I don't want to do a for each. I want to be able to access the array. Okay, all children? No. It should just be called child. For each child and transform. What on earth is that, eh? Let's see. Child. 0. Nope. Okay, I guess we'll have to use the horrible for each. For each child. What is this? Transform, 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 transform. Child. In transform. Is that right? Am I reading that right? For each transform child and transform. Okay. Spelling child right. For each chilled. 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 Child. That looks wrong for child. I guess I never use that word. Oh, I've been looking at parents and children all week at work. Call them children. Alright, so we've got a list now in transform. So is transform an array? No. 0. I don't think so. No way transform could have been an array. And then child dot, what was it? Child dot transform is the parent. Child dot parent. So how about we do a debug.log, debug.log .name. So in our, it's still running, are you? So in here, along with all the positions, we should get a bunch of names spat out. Or not. What transform? Transform of itself, of course not. Game world dot transform. I think before you run. So we get nothing but game world back. So that is the parent. So no child dot name. So child dot parent is the game world parent. Child dot name should be, there we go, our individual objects. With me so far? Okay. So for each child that transform, we wanna dot position. I want to subtract the current position. Why don't we rename this position offset from 0? Okay. Now we're ready to marvel at this. I've got rid of the debug. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So. Whoa, hey! Well, that looked dodgy as anything. Sort of works, but not quite. A lot of jittery going on there. Why is the jittery? The play position is still 0. Let's just pause it and see what's going on. If we pause it, but do that. So the game world is 0. The player is moving. Of course, the player would move. They're moving because they're moving. We'll set them as player. For each child in there, if child.tag is not equal to the player, in brackets again, then we'll do that. What we ended up doing, we're actually moving the player as well. That's causing that jittery thing, and he's causing the player to jitter. Oh look, there we go. So if we hit that, so player remains at 0 as everything else moves, and the cubes are being moved. Fantastic. So that's the first part down. Next one is to handle rotation. So then. How could we do rotation? Let's have a think about it. Well, player rotation could stay 0, and we rotate the game world. Yeah. But the local rotation of the player would have to change. That would work. But first, we need to get the player to be able to rotate. Okay, so input. Okay, key down. Key go dot right arrow. Then the rotation direction equals 1. Else left arrow, rotation direction equals -1. Else rotation direction equals 0. What's wrong with you? What do you not like? Void cannot use in this context. So a bracket at the end to close off the function. Okay. Right, so if the rotation direction is equal to 1, of e dot add torque, is it? Yeah. Torque. New 3. Are we applying this to the y-axis? Oops, wrong one. Yeah, that's been applied to the y-axis. So like rename that to the y rotation direction. Zero, and we'll do 1 pixel per 1 meter per second. That'll be fast enough, won't it? We'll do impulse again. We'll want to do all 3 axes on rotation. Else, if we got the negative, then we want the minus. Okay. Alright, so player, let's do rotations now. Player Y rot. Transform dot rotation. Let's get right. Dot Euler angles. So I'll get the Euler angles. There we go. Way fast. 0.1 there. Fine an F on the end. dot get. What we're talking about, all we want is the RB dot transform dot rotation. Rotation. That's all we want. So oh, what's going on? Whatever. I know it's working. Alright. I've got rotation on the y-axis. So we want a vector 3, rotation offset from 0, I guess, equals center of the world, transform dot rotation. And the center of the world dot transform dot rotation is going to be new vector 3 0. Oh, I guess it's new Quaternion. Quaternion. So the child transform. I need to have it encased. Child transform. Rotation. Minus equal. Rotation offset from 0. No, that ain't gonna work. Rotation dot Euler angles. Euler, and then we can have vector 3. Dot Euler angles. Oh, come on. No rotation. Set. Set the axis angle. Now set Euro angles. All deprecated. Euler. So get set. Cannot modify the return value transform rotation because it's not a variable. What is it then if it's not a variable? It's a get set accessor. Why are you being awkward? We got a vector 3, we got a vector 3. We don't want to move that anyway. We want to move game world dot game world dot 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 dot. Son of a diddle. Dot transform. Dot rotation. Dot Euler angles. Is equals. Equals. No. Dot set. You would see rotate object using Euler. Okay, it's a new. No, that's what I'm doing. Transform. Transform.Euler. Okay. Euler. Aha. Euler angles. Yeah, just to transform Euler angles, forget the rotation. Equals the rotation offset from 0. So we'll see what that does. Let's minimize that. Alright, okay. Well, both things are rotation, so let's just stop the player from rotating as well. Things aren't quite right there, are they? Let's try that again. So we move forward, we'll stop there, now we'll rotate. Well, things are sort of working right there. Apart from that, Not quite, yeah. I guess this will need to be local rotation. Let's see. Is the game world rotating? The game world is rotating. Then when we say move forward, The cubes are moving in the wrong direction. So that should be .local position. Let's try that. Therefore, the player's local position needs to change. Oh man. Ooh, things are getting complicated. So the center of the world object dot local rotation, transform dot local rotation line is equal rotation offset from 0. Okay, transform dot Euler angles. Alright, let's see. Dot local position, local Euler angles, yes. That should be a minus, that's right. Let's add it then. Is that the difference? It just needs to be added on there. Whoa. So it needs to be minus, I suppose. And what's stopping it? Is it this thing, the rotation? That's the world space, not the local space. So if I rotate in the game world and see what happens. Buzzing out. Right. We do need to move the local rotation. Got that rotation offset from 0. Or do I have to do something fancy? Like work out the angular angle and do that. Oh, let's have a think about it. Alright, so I don't want to subtract, so I just want a negative, don't I? So equals the minus rotation, yes? Let's see. That's where we was. Alright, let's try that then. No, same flipping thing. Yeah. Ugh. Alright, let's just have a think. So, we're rotating. What is rotating? The game world is rotating? Right, the game world is rotating. But really, that means the player should be rotating. So we're at 46. Let's just argue we're at 45 degrees. Therefore, the player rotation should also be 45. 1, 2, 3, 10. Should be minus 45. That is the player direction facing that way. Is that correct? What? Players. No, I said 45. 0 minus 10. Yeah. 5. That's where the player should be facing. The minus of the game world rotation. Okay. So let's say center of world objects that transform at local Euler angles equals minus game world Euler angles, which is the same as what we just had before. But not so. I would say it would be so. But then we get this jittery stuff. So what's happening now? Game world is buggered. Yeah, because what? There's a player rotation is buggered. Oh, it don't matter. Why would that matter, indeed? Oh. That's fine. We won't censor you. You could just keep on rotating and see what happens then. Yeah, bad things. Bad things indeed. So how about equals what? The negative of itself? If that's what seems to be happening. Compile errors have to be fixed because we've not put a semicolon on the end of the line. Yeah. Not quite. Ugh. Yeah, we'll have to. Radius, circumference, what? Around the radius. Uh, uh, Solve it distance. Rotate around. Ugh. Alright, let's have a look at this. So the position is the transform position minus the target position, normalized times the orbit distance. Uh, Ahem. Oh, wow. Sirs. Let's just do some debug. What? P-rot. I'll just do rot. Center of the world object. Oh no. Dot rotation. Dot Euler. Dot transform. Dot Euler angles. And local rotation. Transform dot local Euler angles. Let's see what the difference between them two is. Debug.log. Alright, so rotation is changing. That shouldn't be changing. So transform dot Euler angles equals new vector 3. That shouldn't be changing at all. Or it still is. So the game world dot transform center of game world object dot transform local angles equals the minus rotation and from 0. How about just the rotation from 0, eh? Watch it spin out of control again. Right. Set that to 0. So maybe it needs to be set to 0 after we rotate the game world. Perhaps. Will that make a difference? Move them after we've done that and that, yeah? What is the game world? 6 whatever. It's not moving. Player is It's not moving. As far as that's right. Well, you're not just doing anything now, you're just a stupid piece of junk. The game world is rotating at a ridiculous amount of speed. Player is doing daft things. Should be a case of just doing that. Why is it being awkward with me? Rigid body, yes. Public, rigid body, be equals get component, the rigid body. Oh. We want that from the center of the world object, yes? Yeah. B dot angular velocity. We'll just set that as 0. We'll set ours as 0. Strange. Minus equals the rotation offset, yes. Let's to get that in there first to see what we've done. What have we done? Now the rotation should be still continuous, as it is. Our angular velocity. AV rotation. We should offset from 0. So the angular velocity is consistent. So that should be consistently applying. Oh, now it is. Now what happens if we move forward? Haha! So the cube is moving around. What was moving? This. Is it just going to be the Euler angles? Alright, so there's the player. But why? Player not moving in that direction, because that's the direction that he should be moving in when we say go this way. Alright, dot position. Ooh, there we go. Alright. Oh, and we are still 0. Pinwheel is just rotated. Okay. Alright. Let's change this to a vector 3 then, eh? Because we now need to do the other axes, so that was y. Oh. Right then. Up and down. Not W. No, I'll tell you what. This can be dot W, and that's dot S. Dot D. We're gonna WASD A, and to go up, well, up arrow, down arrow. That makes sense. Expected what? Another bracket. Alright. At X. Come on, get out there. 1F. That's 0. Minus 0.1F. That's 0. That's X. Okay. Well, let's check that. We now rotate up and down as we do. Oh, stuck, are we? That's interesting. Oh, yeah. There's always that problem, isn't there? Why is there always a problem? So we rotate and then we get 90 degrees and then it says we rotate back and then yeah, we're stuck. Oh dear. That will be the gimbal lock. Question is, why is everything else being like that? Oh, of course, we're doing the whole rotation thing. How about the Z direction? Does that suffer from gimbal lock? Okay. And what we're doing, up, down, top, right, arrow, left, arrow, fine now. How about when we start adding a rotation in? Ooh. Lost it. Now then. This is just this rotation. Okay, so we get to there and then it goes blah. I'm freaking out, man. And we're concentrating on the x-axis, are we? So we could do with what? Gimbal lock is on the x-axis. Right, yeah, okay. Rotate around. Alright, okay, so game world dot rotate, nope, transform, rotate around. Vector free, point, fine. It's a free dot x, yes. Okay. Transform dot right. Oh, up. Quaternion. Which is then minus rotation offset from 0 dot x. Warnings, no errors. Why? Dot rotate, okay. Rotate around is dead. Alright, okay, rotate. Ooh, Euler angles, okay. Try that then. Going up, way. Wow, that worked. So maybe we should do the same with this one. the world object. Dot transform. Dot rotate. Rotation offset from 0. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. Yay. Whee. Oh wow, I got it working. I did some code. Spectacular. Oh, alright, brilliant. Oh, better stick some comments in here or something. So. Yeah, game world assets. Objects, maybe. So that. Head body. Right, why not just call it that? Rigid body. Oh, dumbass. Okay. Right, yep, key, right, fine. So that's the velocity, but hey, we could actually change that to velocity. I want to call this position change, a bit better word. A rotation change. Ooh, yep. Oh dear. I suppose the next thing will be to test that the other game objects moving in the world are going to move correctly. I'd expect it to, but it's worth testing. But that could be it for another time. I've spent a couple of hours doing this, have I? How long have I been streaming for? Yeah. 2 hours, 20 minutes, so that's roughly about 2 hours, given all the breaks I've done. Alright, I'm pleased with that. So what did we set up? An overview? Basically, to keep the player in the centre of the universe and move everything in the world around it. A bit like Event Horizon, a movie where the ship stays in the centre of the universe and everything else moves. Okay guys, well, appreciate you watching. I think I might actually do a tutorial of this rather than having this 2 hour thing. It could be much quicker. But you know, that's how things go. Till next time, bye for now.